Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent, Commander, live from the Atzenhofer studio. It's Super Bowl Monday.
Yeah, a lot of folks have with no pun intended, a Super Bowl hangover. There are a lot of folks that just choose to kind of bag it in. We'll get to it later. First State Bank of Louise will help us, but I'll tell you, I thought it was the biggest snoozer of a Super Bowl I've ever endured. I didn't watch it; I endured it.
Yeah.
It's a terrible game. We'll talk about that in a little while. The Wade and Carter weather is brought to you by our great friends at Deerland Feed. AT Deerland Feed, providing everything you need for your farm and ranch: gates, panels, cubes for your cattle,
Chutes,
chicks,
calving
seeds,
tables. They've got it all.
pesticides, herbicides, potato salad, coleslaw, all the sides. 56 degrees in Victoria under mostly clear skies. Sunny, beautiful day, heading to a high today of 81.
Sodas. They've got sodas.
Yeah, they do.
Pops for you winter Texans.
Ivermectin for your animals. They've got it.
They do.
You can get in and see them. Jackie Parsons, always available to help. Super friendly staff. Trust me, I've been going there for years. You can't ask a question that's too stupid because I've asked them all. And they're very, very patient.
They've been asked every stupid question at least once by Brent.
Yeah. What happens if I put this in my Bermuda grass? Well, it's going to kill it. Okay. Then I won't do it.
Scott Tomko, Scott Snow, Bobby Leister on the podium this morning. Good morning, everybody else. Checking in. Randy Langston, Jordan Glass, Amanda King, Linda Chris, Greg Garcia, Rena Scherer, John Paul Hull
Hey,
checking in.
JP.
Ricky King, Tammy Keeling, Micah Patton, Mark Zapata Jr., Ryan Hopping.
JP Hull reminds us that the offices at 205 has space available for you. You can come down during the program. If you want to see the space, just come in. There's a 1/2 on this building, which I call 205 East Constitution. But in between 205 and 207, there's a 1/2. Just come up the stairs. We're here. You can stick your head in, say hi, and check out the office space. It's beautiful.
Andrew Alvarez checking in, Lisa Poole, Matt Boucher, Stephen Castaneda, Carter as well.
Hi, Carter.
Good morning, everybody. Where do you want to start with this one right off the bat?
Well, I mean, I don't know if people are in. Is the group in? Because I don't know. I can only do this once, as Bugs Bunny says.
Or do you want to talk about the super dud?
Well, let's take a moment. That'll make Rena Scheer happy if we get the sports out of the way. And then we do have something important to talk to you about. And I want your opinion.
J-Dub.
I want you, Monty Howard, people like you from Austin, from that liberal bastion of education over there in Austin. I want you to feel free to give me your thoughts on this. J-Dub checking in from the YYC. I want you to give us your opinion, being from Canada, that place long known for a lack of free speech. I want to know what you folks think about the subject. My quick take on the Super Bowl was a couple of quick hits. Number one, it was stiflingly boring. Two teams, neither of which I care a lot about, except for the fact that I wanted New England to do well because of our friend Landon Simpson.
Yeah, there's a local boy who's a scout for the New England Patriots, and so we had a local connection to the Super Bowl.
Great story. His dad and our friend Jim Simpson battling cancer. Landon took his dad as his +1. It's a great story, and it would have only been better had New England won. But they had quality time together. Seattle looked good. I think.
Yeah. The better team won.
The Patriots, yes, definitely gave up a lot of points on turnovers.
17 to be exact.
The was his name Walker? Was that the running back?
Yeah.
Had almost 160 yards, and he was the MVP. I personally thought that the kicker that kicked 5 field goals should have been the MVP.
He kicked enough points for them to win outright.
Yeah. My son Kyle pointed out, but Dad, without the running back, they weren't in position for the field goals. I go, that's fair. Without the linemen, they weren't in position. So maybe the offensive line should
in position for field goals. I think he kicked 3 from 40 plus. So it's not like he got him in the sniff of the goal line.
Andrew Alvarez says, I wanted both teams to lose. That's right. I don't disagree. Neither team really did enough to win. Seattle great stories. You know, it's a Super Bowl. It's forever.
And I don't have an issue with defensive football. And there were some nice plays on both sides of the ball. I sound like Trump. Good people on both sides. But I mean,
it's
New
not a
England
return. It's not a return to the Bears of '85.
No.
It's not like either team was just so good on defense.
A couple of nice pass deflections and knockdowns, but there was nothing. The game was just meh.
Yeah, I feel like
it was like
New
hummus of
England's
football.
offense was terrible.
It was, and neither team really made any adjustments. And the conspiracy theorists are going to come out of the woodwork because this was a boring game until about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter when New England, I think, got a touchdown, and then all of a sudden both teams' offenses came to life a little bit.
And started throwing it around the field.
But up until then, terrible. I'm going to get to that, P. Strauss, because I did not.
And P. Strauss, I love Patrick Strauss says, I loved the TP USA halftime show. I want to tell you that I was one of the millions. I think at one point we saw 4.6 million people were watching the TP USA halftime alternative live, but it disappointed me. They did nothing. It had absolutely no correlation at all.
They could have done a lot
game.
more with it.
They had time to plan it.
The lip syncing was terrible. It was all pre-recorded.
Yeah, that was the only thing. Is it was boring, and I chose to make the political statement, much like the Bud Light folks and everybody else, that I was not going to watch Bad Bunny. You have to know that Bad Bunny did an entire, or not an entire, but large portions of a show in Spanish with no subtitles. So the guy's from Puerto Rico. He's an American. I don't have a problem with his show, and I'm sure it was energetic and colorful.
And that's what I heard it was. I heard it was very energetic. It was not, there was really nothing racy or controversial except he spiked the football and said, "We're still here." The guy's an American.
Of course you're still here.
They're taking it as a slam against the ICE raids and illegals. You're from Puerto Rico, dude. You're not an illegal immigrant. That I don't get.
JP
Just
points
because you
out
speak Spanish?
Clint Kubiak has a Texas connection. Gary Kubiak, of course, played at A&M. I want to say Gary Kubiak. Of course, Gary Kubiak played at A&M. I think look it up, Cody, Kubiak. Gary Kubiak. He was the coach for the Texans. He played for the Denver Broncos. He was a very, very adequate NFL quarterback, if not a great quarterback for a while. He was a great player at Texas A&M. I'm just trying to remember, it was either in the late 70s, early 80s, or mid 80s. When did Gary Kubiak play football?
He was at Denver in the 70s, I think.
Was he Morton's backup? Was he Elway's backup? He was Elway's backup.
So he got drafted to the Broncos in '83.
There you go. So he's my era of college ball. Yeah, Gary Kubiak was a fine player. And I guess he's with who? Is he with Seattle? Clint, his son, is with Seattle? Okay. He says he's going to be the Raiders head coach.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady likes him, right?
But the Turning Point USA halftime show, electric guitar anthem.
It was nice.
It was good.
I've seen Ted Nugent do it live.
But every second song was a ballad. Like, the game is already putting me to sleep.
Right.
I didn't need a halftime show to be filled with love songs and ballads for a football game.
And what was the classical song? I couldn't figure that one out.
Yeah. Who brings a cello to a Super Bowl party?
Right.
Solid question, because I mean, there just wasn't any coordination even within that event. It's like, oh, you want to play? You're willing to buck the system? Bring your cello and your violin.
And could you have brought together any more B/C list country artists?
True story. Good morning. Marina.
It missed the mark.
But I watched it. I supported it because I didn't support the negativity, the negative vibe of the. And P. Strauss says he loved it. Of course, P. Strauss, being very sophisticated these days, he has a place in Louisville and he sips fine bourbons. out of
No, and that's fine.
Lori's slipper.
A lot of people did love it. I just wasn't one of them. Glass
Right.
slipper, by the way.
Glass.
Yeah.
It was aged in a glass slipper belonging to my bride.
But is it my observation? Only anyone else feel the same way? The NFL, who Monty Howard says he hasn't watched the Super Bowl since all the kneeling, and they did all the slogans in the end zone: end racism, love people, whatever they were putting on. By the way, no slogans in the end zone yesterday. Although you couldn't find that out until towards the end of the game when they actually scored a touchdown to
Right.
see the end
Nobody
zone.
was in the end. They
No.
should have put the logos around the 50 because that's where both teams stayed all day. T-Lat, Don Nicole comes in and says, I had no idea Kid Rock's real name until last night. And I'll be honest, Kid Rock is probably pushing my age and looks it. Now, given he's earned it, he's worked hard to look that bad.
Yeah.
But
Willie's looked like that his whole life.
Kid Rock really did a serviceable job on what song did he sing? Help me, Donnie. It was a country song about it wasn't Don't Laugh at Me. It was a nice song. It was a good song. Cody's on it. That's how forgetful or non-memorable it was. Kid Rock is 55, says Bobby Leister.
Robert Ritchie is his name.
Robert Ritchie, Ritchie.
It said he did two, Real American and Dirt Road Anthem. I thought he only did one song. Maybe he mixed them together.
Which one is Dirt
No,
Road?
Dirt Road Anthem. That was the one isn't that the one that was the one Gilbert Brantley covered, I thought. The Jason Aldean song.
Oh, there you go, JP. Until you can't.
Okay.
Yeah, Until
Wait,
You Can't.
you're
That was a good
right.
song.
I'm sorry.
Nana
Yeah.
Bloschke, you were missed last night. Mark Zapata, Lisa Poole. Thank you, Lisa. The Lisa Poole bingo announcement, 26th of
the last
February.
Thursday.
The last
But is there-
Thursday of February.
Is there anything more divisive by the NFL?
Than Barack Obama?
Well,
How you going to
him.
blame him for that?
Than to get to have a halftime show that they knew would be divisive.
Right. Callie Frommy, I agree. So we're not saying that we don't support the concept of the TPUSA halftime. And clearly Americans did by the millions.
And it was in a studio. Well, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, when you've got 140 million people watching the game worldwide and only 4 million tune into the TPUSA halftime show, I mean, those are big numbers. Probably the biggest audience TPUSA has ever had for anything that they've programmed.
Probably more people watching that than anything other than the Super Bowl at that time.
Yeah. But is it really that impactful?
Unless there were MASH reruns on. Kelly Frommy says the TPUSA halftime was so contrived. You're right. There was nothing organic about it. It didn't seem like. Anyway, she says it was cringy to watch the fans who were clearly given instructions on how to react and quote unquote enjoy the production.
Well, here's the thing. It was filmed in a sound studio. So they lined the sides of the stands of the stage with fans. What they did a terrible job was of putting the cameras in position so that 10 heads in a shot looked like 30,000 people
right.
at the thing. They did a terrible job with that. And I've worked on those productions where we made 12 people in front of a stage for a crappy no-name band look like hundreds of people in front of a stage for a crappy no-name band to give them a little more street cred on a TV show. The TPUSA folks did a terrible job of that yesterday.
Andrew Alvarez says, when was the last time the NFL had a non-minority person headline the halftime show for the Super Bowl? Maybe look up last 10 NFL.
Justin Timberlake?
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I was just
maybe
thinking.
JT.
The Who? The Rolling Stones?
There you go. Let's take a quick break, and then we want to get into something that I think is very serious, and by the we'll make it.
But the NFL doesn't do itself any favors when the culmination of your season is as bad a football game as that one was to watch.
Right. I agree. The ratings will probably be high. I don't know. What a good game, though. I tell you what, if Bad Bunny boosts your ratings for the Super Bowl, it tells you a lot about the two teams. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends, the aforementioned date being February the 26th. P. Strauss may be back in town. Bring your slipper. Bring some of those little bottles of Buffalo Trace and come on in. Love to have you. Tell me, you saw some Eminem. Okay, Johnny Hawton.
I was going to say Eminem. 22 Eminem or 2021 The Weeknd probably would have done those.
There you go. Those guys from Green Day before the game, you find out they're like in their 50s. Thought they were kids. USA Concrete Coatings, 578 Home, Charlie Garcia, eager to help you with all your coating needs involving concrete. It's pretty simple. Whatever you want done, call him. Veracruz Restaurant, it's a magnificent Monday. Get into Veracruz today for the best Tex-Mex in town. Dawn Nicole yesterday, she got a new food processor.
She made some pretty good salsa.
That's because every day is Valentine's Day at my house. I'm getting her a new vacuum for Valentine's.
You better.
Dawn Nicole made up her own batch of hot sauce. You had some.
It was good.
It was good, but it wasn't Veracruz. It was good, though. She said it's just not Veracruz, but it's great. It was great hot sauce.
So y'all had a party last night, huh?
Just a little gathering, 50 or 60 of my more intimate friends. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen's is your go-to total. Donnie says she needs a new Dyson.
She needs a new pillow, too.
The Dyson has ball cleaning technology.
Yeah.
That makes me very anxious. Allen's Wrecker Service, Went Services, Went for all your electrical needs. Great organization, great people. You need turnkey generator service? You do. You don't want to install your own generator. You want somebody to be accountable when the gas doesn't work right, when the connection's not right. You get one phone call. You call Went Services. They will come out and repair someone else's installation. You won't like the price. It's better to have them do it the first time. Paravita Wellness and the Vita Cafe. Paravita inviting you to get in and get healthy. Go by and see Erica Briggs and let her help you. No doubt about it. Yeah. Dawn wants you to help me find a pillow that matches.
Yeah.
So we're going to put something on the screen. If you've got little kids and you don't want them to see a bad word, avert their eyes. You have 5 seconds to do so. Commander is on.
We edited it.
We edited
oh, y'all edited it. Okay. Can you still figure out what the bad word is?
Yep.
Maybe.
There you go. So this making the rounds, I can't read all of it. I can't read like what that says.
East and West walkout protest.
East and West walkout protest. F-ICE, 1:10 p.m., February the 11th. No one is illegal on stolen land. Someone in our community or someone's in our community is promoting the concept of our children, East and West high school aged, exercising their right to freedom of speech to walk out of our public school in the middle of the school day in protest of ICE. I want to know how you feel about it. You're free to call us, 894-4020. You're free to type it. I want you to tell me what you think. If you support this, I'll explain to you how you're wrong. If you don't condemn it, I'll explain to you how your apathy is disheartening. I want to tell you that it is fundamentally counterproductive to our children for this to be promoted in our community or accepted at our schools. And you may say, oh, Brent, it's no big deal. It's really no big deal. It's just kids making a statement. I don't care about the issue. I agree. Stephanie Conde, who do we need to call? I think you need to call VISD at the school headquarters. Patrick Strauss is talking about consequences right off the bat. I have the consequences. I know what they should be. He says they should be suspended. Here's my consequence. I compare this to kind of like meet me at the poll. We're going to have a group. We're all going to get together and we want to pray for our school. We want to pray for our community. That's not condoned or really even acknowledged much by VISD. It's allowed, if you will, and it happens on campuses. Key part of this deal, it happens on campus before school. You want to meet at the poll? A public gathering area in front of the school and have a circle up vigil, you want to have prayer, we're not going to stop you. So thank you, Junior, for stating the obvious. Thank you. They did this before, yes, or don't interrupt. They did this before school. So any of you leftists who think, well, this is just kids exercising their free right to free speech, first of all, our public schools are not a democracy. 100%. The kids don't have a vote. The kids don't have a vote. Number one, most of those kids don't even have the ability to vote. They're not 18. Here's the consequences as I see them. If you get up and walk out of my classroom, you're unexcused absent, you're truant, and therefore you're going to ISS. I don't care if we have ISS in the gym. I don't care if we have ISS at the stadium. In addition to that, I think every teacher at both high schools should be told to give a pop quiz at 1:10 p.m., no matter the content.
Do the STAR test at 1:10 p.m.
1:10 p.m., and if you miss it, you get a 0. Oh, by the way, that pop quiz is 10% of your grade. 10%. So if you're willing to give up an entire letter grade to walk out of my classroom, go for it. By the way, if you're a senior, many schools have dress-up days. Kids are allowed to dress a certain way, do certain things. I would suggest that on that day you wear, if you're a senior, you wear your cap and gown. Because when you walk out of my classroom during the middle of the day, you should wear your cap and gown because you're not walking across my stage at graduation. Protest often comes with a price. And the best thing we can teach these kids is if you think that it's trendy and cool to get up and walk out of my classroom, you can attend ISS on a Saturday. You can drop an entire letter grade in my class. And if you're a senior, you don't walk across the stage. I think these are all very fair things. I had a school administrator tell me, there's nothing you can do. They're going to do it. They get up and just walk out to go to the restroom now. Oh, I guarantee you there's something you can do. Are you willing to do it? How much are you willing to do to help our children? Convince them that life has consequences. Teach them that there is no free ride. Teach them that freedom isn't free. Your freedom of speech is guaranteed, but not in every situation.
But VISD has a history of not holding kids
I tell you what,
to the consequences of their actions.
There's someone listening right now at VISD. There always is. Super Sheila, you need to make a statement here.
Well, the Texas Education Agency issued some guidelines last week on student walkouts, warning that school districts could face an investigation, potential state takeover for facilitating or encouraging student political walkouts. Under their guidance, students who walk out of class must be marked absent. That could cause districts to lose state funding based on attendance numbers. It's interesting they picked 110 because isn't attendance finalized by then? So was a teacher involved in making sure classrooms and funding didn't get hurt? Teachers who facilitate student walkouts can have their licenses revoked for violating state laws that prohibit them from encouraging or facilitating students from leaving class to engage in political activism.
You want to do it before school.
Well, and that's the thing. TEA does not provide any information on protests held outside of school hours.
Right.
Because that's
Junior asked, can the school board say anything about that? BJ Nelson is listening. However, and respecting her position as a school board member, I feel like most of you probably know BJ's opinion on this. But as far as trying to put her on the spot to make an official statement, I say no. We wouldn't do that.
Andrew Alvarez asks, isn't cell phone use in school illegal? How is this propagating and promoted if not by cell phones? Well, it came to me yesterday and apparently was making its rounds on TikTok because the parent that sent it to me, their middle school child received it.
Right.
So it's making its rounds, or Snapchat, I guess. One of those. Anyway, one of them. But
this has nothing to do with the issue. I tried
No.
to think of an issue that,
and the issue is a day late and $1 short because ICE has already agreed we're taking 700 people out of Minnesota, and Minnesota and the feds are now cooperating. So what is this?
Right.
This is a bunch of kids jumping on a bandwagon thinking they look trendy and cool because everybody's doing it. And they've completely missed the mark.
are they all going to dress in goth as well?
It's interesting that they're using the same language that Billie Eilish or Eyelash used or whatever last week about her home. I don't know. It's just an interesting coincidence, I guess.
I'm trying to, and then they were telling drivers to please, be careful around the protest. Well, you know what? Don't walk into the streets. You won't get hit by a car.
Well, that's the deal. You're going to have a bunch of kids out there unchaperoned, not acting right. And guess what? When one of those little turds gets hit by a car, they're going to blame the school. They're going to blame the school district.
Well, you know who will get hit? It'll be the one kid that's just a follower and not a leader. And it won't be one of the organizers. It'll be some kid just there because it was an opportunity to leave class early.
Well, I'm not through with this. We have a couple of days. Today's the 9th. They're talking about doing this on the 11th. Let's see. I want to know who created the poster. I want to know. I'll tell you what makes it worse. There are people that would do anything they could to get recognition. They do anything to be on television. You can bet that our own liberal, idiots, Channel 25 will be out there covering that with cameras. Let's see if anybody storms out of the school. Shouldn't do it. Should give it no. Yeah, that Patrick Strauss says the real problem is their parents are so proud of them.
Yeah.
This is wrong.
Yeah, there's all sorts of problems with this thing.
Yeah.
Spacing issues. I mean, if this kid took any sort of graphic layout class,
it's terrible.
Terrible. They should get at least a C on this.
Well, they make it school colors, red, white, and black. I mean, it's just
no space between no one.
Yeah.
Too much space between the star and F ice.
Yeah, I agree.
Your bullet points in this bottom right box aren't all aligned.
There you go. Andy Rokovich says they're already promoting it at Crossroads today.
So,
hey, I'm just telling you, the school district needs to issue a public statement saying this will not be tolerated. It is not condoned. There will be consequences. Now, like I said, you immediately are marked absent truant. You immediately will get ISS. You also will flunk a 10% of your grade pop quiz. And if you're a senior, you don't walk across the stage at graduation.
We were talking before the show about this, and we discussed what are you opening if you allow this?
Well, yeah. I mean,
like,
why
what's
not?
the next thing?
Well,
right?
We want to protest the lack of respect for Kwanzaa. We want to protest. I'm pro-choice. I want to protest the overturning of Roe v. Wade. It's Black History Month. I want to march out every day in support of my pigmented brothers. It just goes on and on and on. You could march out every day over some qualified issues. Why? If everybody wanted to march out of school tomorrow to protest the lack of American involvement in the slaughtering of Christians in Nigeria, I would still say there's nothing accomplished by that. Stay in your seat.
Yeah. Randy Langston, look at how all the parents act. I'm not watching the halftime show. I'm watching Turning Point USA.
Right?
Yeah, fair point.
That's right.
Fair point.
Yep.
But it wasn't an organized protest.
I agree with that. The parents need to wrap up the school. Be there. Grab your own kid and take it back to class. Smacking her about the head and neck on the way.
Yeah. Tammy Williams says, unfortunately, this will probably fall on law enforcement to police the idiocy out there. And it will.
I don't have a problem. I realize the doors have to remain unlocked and all that, but I would not have a problem with the SRO, the school resource officer, requesting backup and saying, we will not tolerate an exodus of the school. I would have no problem with that. How many exits do you think there are at East and West High School? They're identical. 1, 2, there's one by the cafeteria, by the entrance,
probably a dozen.
maybe a dozen.
Yeah.
20 25 officers at the two schools and just say, turn back. You're not coming out. And if property gets vandalized, you're going to jail. If you're over a sophomore, we're going to treat you like an adult.
You don't have to ask to go to the restroom anymore. You just walk out of the class.
Apparently, that's what some of these kids do.
I had no idea.
I tell you what, the only reason they do that is because they're allowed to do it. Well, how are you going to stop them?
We didn't have to get permission, but you had to let them know so the teacher knew where you were.
Yeah. 100%. I'm 100% for.
Wasn't your mom a school teacher?
My mother was a school teacher.
What would she have done if somebody walked out of her class?
She was a kindergarten teacher. She would have said, sit down, Billy.
She would have smacked him with the yardstick.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Well, Linda Christ is correct. Someone is pushing this. Kids usually care about their own stuff. Sure, they listen, but generally they don't care enough to walk out of school. They don't care now either. They just think it's fun and trendy. And I even look back to my own youth, and if everybody in my senior class was like, come on, man, we're all going to go. It'll be fun. I'm not sure I was smart enough at the time to be principled enough to say, no, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
I might have gotten up with my friends who were all good kids, and we might have all walked out together. But that would have been wrong then, and it's wrong now. But we didn't because the teachers told us not to. It was not allowed. There were things that we certainly did not defy authority, and we acquiesced to that authority to our own betterment. So I don't know. I mean, Randy, we'd take any excuse to leave school. I agree. But senior skip day, I'm fine with that. You want to meet at the pole and talk about this before school? I'm all for it.
But we didn't organize protests, marches.
No. Y'all are Canadian. Y'all were happy. Everything was good. Free health care.
No, they're protesting everything these days.
Let's take a quick break. Talk to me about health care. I know you're going to leave me, but, well, that's fine. You don't have to leave yet.
No, not yet.
Talk to me about Chesnick Furniture.
Well, Chesnick Furniture, make your house a home. I peruse their website every once in a while, and they've got some great deals on best furniture, England brand furniture, sofas, love seats, recliners, some of them half off. You're going to get great deals.
You've come a long way. You used to peruse National Geographic.
Yes.
Come a long way. Proud of you. White Trash Services.
Always do better at Chesnick's.
Oh, no doubt about it. Chesnick and Love, make your house a home. White Trash Services for all your trash-tastic needs. If you're in any of our No Bull Network counties, Calhoun, B, Frio, Jim Hogg, Carnes, Gonzales, DeWitt, Goliad, and Victoria, if you're in the county, White Trash Services can do your trash. They do a better job than anybody. 550-1826.
And they'll make a donation to your local volunteer fire department if you sign up for a 1, 2, or 3 year
$25, $50, or $100 to your volunteer fire department. Ads and Offer, of course, the studio sponsor. A South Texas tradition for over 100 years.
I'll have my used vehicle of the week tomorrow.
There you go. There you go. First State Bank of Louise Astros update appears. What did we end up? Framber Valdez went where?
Detroit.
For what? Yeah, he's overpaid.
Yep. And they got Scooball for $32 million. So they've got almost $70 million tied up in those two pitchers alone.
Yeah, but they do have a really strong 1-2 punch. Yeah. But where'd he go? Detroit. They're not good enough.
That's why they're trying to get better.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it does start with pitching, but starts with that up the middle defense. Astros still rock solid defensively. Need to get some players in here
I think pitchers and catchers report in 10 days.
4 United States senators in Greenland this morning visiting with the locals, telling them the Democrat side saying, we're here to try to rebuild trust. Our president did not treat you with respect. Our president has broken that trust. That's fine. If that's the narrative that senators want to portray on foreign soil about our president, I just hope it's noted. The Dixie Chicks did that once. It cost them. I don't like 2 things. I don't like the fact that the Democrats are so blindly aligned with each other that no matter the subject, they are always in lockstep, even to the detriment of the country. And yet they have no problem, while they talk about crossing party lines, they have no problem maligning our president on foreign soil.
Well, this is a bipartisan
group. But the Republicans that spoke didn't say, we're here to fix Donald Trump's mess.
No.
Donald Trump simply told Greenland the truth. They may not like the truth. Maybe they can't handle the truth. But Greenland wants us on that wall. They need us on that wall.
Absolutely.
There's no getting around it. And they know that. There's the problem. We're all into a semantic world of hypocrisy. The left trying to make it about how you feel. Tell us how you feel.
Stephanie Connie says, I don't think senators should be able to go around in foreign lands and bash our president.
They just should know better, right?
Yeah.
It's
I mean, you can't really, I mean, that would be unconstitutional if you forbid them from doing so, but they should know better. But do they really need to be there?
They're representing him.
Isn't that really the job of our Secretary of State?
Marco Rubio, who has absolutely told them, we're going to have a presence here. It's going to benefit you.
Yeah. Junior says, notices a deafening silence from a select group about the walkout. I'd like any kid who wants to plan or plans to be in this. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. I'd like for anybody who thinks, total respect promised. If you truly believe that this is a good thing, that these children, many of whom don't have the ability, most of whom, the vast majority of whom have no ability to vote, should they not make this statement by getting up 15 minutes earlier and being at a campus? Bobby Leister, good morning.
Morning.
We're good. What are your thoughts?
So my thoughts, you know what, here's the thing. You know what the worst part about the Super Bowl was? My numbers didn't hit.
Fair.
I thought the Super Bowl was blah. I watched both half times. I thought they were both, neither one of them, in my opinion, jumped off the screen. I think part of it, if you're going to have a Super Bowl, in my opinion, get somebody that everybody knows, kind of.
Who would that be these days?
Well, from a pop music world, it is Bad Bunny. He's the biggest entertainer out there.
That's what I want.
Swift.
Well, I don't know. I had no idea who he was before that. I couldn't name, I'll be honest with you, I couldn't name 5 of the top country artists nowadays either, just because, they move on so fast.
Because we're old.
Well, and that's part of it, though. They're trying to bring in younger viewers because the NFL fan skews older demographic. And if they don't do something to get younger fans into the game will not be able to sustain itself economically.
The NFL fan is 35 to 55 and white. We lost Bobby. Sorry, Bobby.
But
35 to 55 and white.
Yeah, this is a blatant attempt to try to bring younger viewers to the game. And I'm not sure it accomplishes that. It brings them to the halftime show, but I'm not sure it brings them to the game itself. And then yesterday's terrible display of football that was not exciting for anybody but true hardcore fans of good defensive football. And you're not doing it.
And it wasn't even that exciting brand of defense. It was just that there was no offense.
Yeah. Drop passes at times, things like that.
Yeah. In fact, some of the better defensive plays were actually made by New England. Yeah. There was a touchdown pass that was batted down at the very last second by a cornerback.
Dove and almost picked it off.
Great play.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Amanda King asks, what's the average demographic to watch the regular game, just being an NFL game? I would say that the average NFL fan is
25 to 54.
Yeah, something like that. That's the majority.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, want to talk about this today or save it?
We can talk about anything you want.
Healthcare spending in this country jumped up to an average of $15,000, almost $15,500 a person. That's about 18%
of the United States economy.
Yeah. $5.3 billion or trillion dollars total in 2024, according to the latest numbers released by Department of Health and Human Services. And this encompasses all healthcare spending.
Yeah, so bear in mind that it's not just my $50 copay. No. It's also the pick a number, $600 a month that my employer pays for my health benefits.
It's the payments made by insurance companies. It's the Medicare and the Medicaid. It's all of that stuff. $5.3 trillion.
$15,500. The next closest is Switzerland at 10,000, roughly 10,000 a person, right, 99.63.
Canada spends half of that, $7,300.
But then again, Canada doesn't treat anything, right? It's like you're too old for a hip.
Yeah.
It'd be cheaper to put you down. Are you sad? Would you like to commit suicide? That's Canada.
Some of our outcomes are better. Some of them are worse. We do not our average, our expected life expectancy, or that number has gone down the last couple of years.
It's Israel's last. Is that Israel over there?
Yeah, that's Israel over there. 4,300 a person.
Are they healthier? And I'm not being sarcastic. Are they healthier, or do they just die at an earlier age?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I would, I would argue, Canada spends half, and their outcomes, in my opinion, I mean, when you're waiting for hours in an ER, and that's just to get seen because there's not enough doctors there.
You know what I noticed right off the bat, and stop me if I'm wrong, if my stereotype is not correct. When I say United States, Switzerland, Norway, Germany, Netherlands, Austria, Luxembourg, Sweden, Ireland, Belgium, Australia, they're all white people. Am I wrong? I mean, I would say that aside from the United States, every one of those countries has a higher percentage of white people than the U.S.
Now, you got to get down here to Japan
to find an Asian, and they're number 20 or so.
And they spend almost $5,800 a person.
New Zealand, Finland, and well, the part of it is, and I'm just being observational. The Congo, Uganda, they're not spending any money on healthcare.
No. And this is per capita spending in U.S. dollars, so we're talking equal dollars here, not Australian dollars or Canadian dollars.
Very interesting.
It is very interesting.
You better jet.
Yeah. So
Ash has an appointment this morning at 8. We're done with breaks. Okay. We've done it. Right. Brand us. Commander Cody can help me through the next 20 minutes of this show. I don't know exactly what we're going to talk about because I don't do all the prep work.
I just thought you were listing places a second ago that I was never going to win the lottery.
Right.
And so I was like, whoa, it's getting deep. And then you didn't. I was glad to hear that.
Yeah. I will tell you this. There's a gentleman named Nate Sheets. Nate Sheets running for ag commissioner for the state of Texas. I would have told you 6 months ago that it was unheard of that anyone would supplant our current ag commissioner, who is Mr. Sid Miller. I've enjoyed Sid. You've enjoyed Sid on this program. Find him to be a good guy. I'll tell you that the czar that is Governor Abbott apparently really wants Sid Miller gone. And to the point that Abbott is viewed as one of the biggest proponents of Mr. Nate Sheets. I've got no opinion on that. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying I find it interesting. Sid Miller, I thought, was locked in as ag commissioner. He and the governor apparently at odds over several issues, and I believe that the governor has been called out by Sid Miller, and that's just not what you do to a insurmountable force in the form of Greg Abbott. Junior Sample says that the rollout of the Mandate show went really well. He encourages you folks to tune in to Magic 95.9. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. Next Saturday, it'll be on Saturday from, I think, 9 to 10 a.m. live. You're welcome to watch that anytime. I don't know enough about Nate Sheets. I know that we have the ability to get Mr. Sheets on the program, and we will. And we also have the opportunity to have Sid Miller back on the program. His team has reached out in the past and will again, and we will have him on. And I'll ask him, for you, what did you do to run afoul of the governor, and is the governor wrong to want you out? I just think his name recognition is so good. sadly, much as I do about John Cornyn, who I just have a feeling is going to get reelected, that should trouble you, that a guy can be basically a weak rhino, and every 5.5 years, people, 6-year terms, he comes in and says, I stand with the president on everything. I'm John Cornyn. I'm the most conservative guy in the room. He lies to you. You know he's lying. And then when it comes time to pull the trigger, you just can't go, well, that Wesley Hunt, I don't know enough about him. And boy, Paxton, didn't he get sued by some people? Isn't he a bad person? Those things creep into your mind, and you go, I'll just go with the devil I know, and people vote for Cornyn. Very interesting. I think that's what will happen to Sid Miller, even though I think Sid does a great job as ag commissioner. Lindsey Vonn, you may remember Lindsey Vonn. You say Lindsey Vonn, I think, oh, yeah, she dated Tiger Woods. But she's 41 years old. She had fallen in either practice or somewhere and had torn her ACL. But she had vowed to ski on. And her right arm tagged the fourth gate in the women's downhill, and it sent her tumbling. And she was only 14 seconds into her downhill race, which is a ridiculous challenge of death. And at 41, she went down. They ended up, so your ACL connects the thigh bone to the shin bone, and it keeps that bone from going forward. So it's a stabilizer ligament, and in her case, it is torn. So she went down, and they had to actually airlift her off the mountain. They had to bring in a helicopter and pick her up. Sad for her. It's most certainly the end of her Olympic career, I would venture. She could come back, I guess, at 45, but I can't imagine that she would. Very interesting. A lot of those people, I feel bad. They're kids. They're all kids. I feel bad for the Olympic skater who falls in his race. They've trained so hard for so long, many all their lives. They're now 28, 29. They're in their prime. Fall into the race. Very sad, but it happens. I did watch some people from there, Dutch, I don't know, the Netherlands or somewhere over there, really, really white people doing some long distance speed skating. And that was cool to watch. Guy set an Olympic record yesterday, 10 laps around this arena, just flying.
Did they shoot the guns while they were going downhill yet? I didn't get to watch that part.
The what do they call that?
I don't know.
Where they ski and shoot?
Yeah.
No, cross country, I think, is what that is, though. I don't think they go
pretty
down
cool,
a hill.
in my opinion.
Are you picturing them like going down a mountain and like with a machine gun or something?
I'm looking for Dove to fly up.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. That's inner city Chicago.
My bad.
Doesn't really happen. Record Dow closed. Does this mean anything for President Trump? Is this good? The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed above 50,000 for the first time Friday. It surged 1,207 points, or 2.5% on Thursday. Was driven by gains in Goldman Sachs and Caterpillar, which jumped 4.3% and 7.1%. What could happen in the tractor business to make Caterpillar go up 7%? Somebody figured out they had a plant in Victoria. That's what it was. It's the crossroads factor. Trivia for you folks. The Dow was launched in 1896 by Wall Street Journal founding editor Charles Dow and statistician Edward Jones. The index originally traded 12 companies from industries like cotton, sugar, tobacco, and oil. Since 1928, it has tracked 30 blue chip stocks, large established U.S. leaders. Unlike the S&P 500, the Dow is price weighted as opposed to weighted by market capitalization. Companies are selected by a committee, including senior representatives from the journal. The Dow price is calculated by adding stock prices for each company and dividing the number by a Dow divisor. There you go. The Dow skews towards industrial and financial sectors and has outpaced NASDAQ and S&P in recent weeks. So old, big blue bud companies, GM, used to be steel companies. It used to be the railroad. Those, they bring them in and out based on their relevance. Now you're going to have things like maybe Tesla in there, things that are currently relevant. They end up in the Dow. So you got that going on. I'm just reading some comments. Scott Tonko says, I feel bad for the alternate person who could have taken her place. They'd both be better off. Absolutely. Callie Fromey said it's the biathlon is where they ski and shoot.
That's right.
Yeah. Jennifer Rayburn came in second, echoing that factoid from Callie Fromey.
I think it's important to remember that everybody is smarter than us.
Well, there's no doubt, but that's why we have such an elite audience.
Absolutely.
Makes it very interesting. Yeah.
And thank goodness for that, because it would be a terrible show if we were the smartest people in the room.
Well, it would be, and I learn something from these folks every day.
Absolutely.
Tammy Williams says she agrees with Scott Tomko. They put her in knowing the probable outcome. She was a train wreck for people to tune in. The other thing is, I joked yesterday that the reality is it just makes for a really good ending to her upcoming Netflix documentary, because everything is about marketing. There was a girl yesterday who won the downhill. I was very excited for her. She's young, American won the downhill. And when she talked after the race, she was very emotional, which is appropriate. But she said, well, I just found out this week, she's crying, that my father will never ski again. And I thought, that's how much skiing is her family's life. She didn't say my father, has a terminal illness. My father lost his job. My dad can't ever ski again. Okay, well, Paralympics are coming up in a couple of months. I mean, there's worse things than, but I guess if you're a skiing family, if that's what you do, hard to argue. Let's see. Ash did that. New York Times, the morning. I'm just scrolling for you so you don't have to. All right. Olympics, the top news, Seahawks, Olympics. We've already covered that. Says here, a terrible milestone. An astonishing number of Russians and Ukrainians have died, vanished, or been wounded during 4 years of war. Casualties in the conflict are on track to pass 2 million this year, 2/3 of them from Russia. Russian casualties reported are nearly 35,000 a month in Russians being hurt. Last week's negotiations yielded little more than a prisoner swap. I still tell you, if anybody believes that Ukraine is holding out for their boundaries to go back to where they were, this war will never end. Ukraine is going to give up some land, or Russia will stay the course. There's no way Vlad Putin says, okay, I lost, X number of men. It's fine. We're going to go ahead and just go home. It's not going to happen. Just not going to happen. So you got that. New York Times, CNN, 5 things. Lindsey Vonn, Super Bowl. Nancy Guthrie, this story's still going on. The search for the missing mother of Today anchor Savannah Guthrie is intensifying ahead of a reported ransom deadline at 5 p.m. local time in Arizona. Ransom notes sent to several media outlets threaten Nancy Guthrie's life and demand $6 million in Bitcoin in exchange for her safe return. They said Nancy's children over the weekend said, we will pay. Investigators also returned to Nancy's home on Sunday, but have still not publicly identified any suspects linked to her disappearance over a week ago. My history with these things is that she's already dead. My history is when people get kidnapped, they are rarely returned. Doesn't mean I'm right. I'm prayerful that Ms. Guthrie, the senior, is returned. I hope she does. The Epstein files, former Prince Andrew, now being accused. I saw this on BBC this morning prior to 7 o'clock. They're saying now that the Thames area, that police organization is investigating. They're enwrapped in an investigation regarding the concept that Prince Andrew at the time gave sensitive financial information, insider trading data, if you will, to Jeffrey Epstein. We don't know if that was in exchange for some type of favor with women or if it was just, hey, we're really good friends. You've taken care of me. I'm going to take care of you. At any rate, Prince Andrew's still on the hot seat. I guess Prince William and his wife Catherine both said to be very upset about this plausibility. Interesting that they're now quoting Catherine. Maybe they're going to become co-royals when the time happens. But it says the department, the members of Congress have unredacted versions of the Epstein files at the DOJ, according to a letter obtained by CNN. This comes as the department's recent release of more than 3 million Epstein-related documents is shedding light on the late sex offender and his links to billionaires, royals, and government officials in the U.S. and abroad. In the coming hours, the lawmakers will be permitted to view the files, but no outside electronic devices will be allowed. It remains unclear whether any of the information reviewed will be shared publicly. CNN reporting on SpaceX, Elon Musk appears to be turning his focus, at least for now, from creating a settlement on Mars to the more immediate goal of sending humans to live on the moon. Okay. Now I want you to just stop for a minute. Stop for a minute. Aside from, I climbed that mountain because it was there. Cody, can you think of any redeemable quality other than being an adventure seeker that makes you willing to die? Why would you ever go live on the moon?
Because we're going to run out of space eventually on Earth.
Right. Okay. So what are we just going to call Culligan to bring us water up there? Because, we still need water to live. There's no water there.
I bet they'll put a plant up there.
A plant to create water.
Yeah, I bet.
Don't they usually use oxygen to do that? Because it's an H2O mixture.
Look, they'll figure it out.
Sure. Oh, yeah, they'll figure it out. Sure. I'm just asking you people, if they gave your child at 21, hey, we'll give you $1 million. By the way, there's no, Amazon doesn't deliver to the moon.
They'll figure that out for
there's
sure.
No
that'll be
to
easier.
Buy anything.
That'll be easier than water.
Yeah. He said his company has shifted its priorities to building a self-growing city on the moon.
I believe that there's a movie about this, so they're probably just going to follow the movie.
Because that makes perfect sense. Right. They call that science
fiction.
Yes, that's what they call it. Very interesting. I think this is all just a big diversion and probably a seek for some government grant. I just can't understand it. Yeah.
Well, this goes back to him merging his two companies last week or 2 weeks ago, where it became the largest privately held company in the world. And it was the SpaceX and XAI or whatever he merged.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got a reason for doing it, but I don't know what it would be.
Sine Takeachi cemented her grip on power with a historic victory in Japan on Sunday. Gives the ruling coalition the ability to override votes in the upper house of parliament and pass bills with little to no opposition. Donald Trump has given her a glowing endorsement. She hoped to turn her popularity into a stronger mandate for the struggling liberal Democrat Party. There you go. Folks, we've reached the top of the hour. I encourage you to encourage your kids to stay in school. What I mean by that is Tell your kids not to walk out. They don't need to walk out of a public school in Victoria. It's not a democracy. It's not their place. It's not their role. There you have it. There you have it. Let's see if there's any one last comment. There you go. Nothing too exciting. I don't see anything very, very exciting. I appreciate all you folks chiming in today. Appreciate your support. Really, really love having you folks on the program. And Ash will be back in the morning, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks, Magic 95.9, the mothership of Wade and Carter. Everybody have a great day. Bye, folks.